Hi, I'm here with my R46 Subway Car LCD Max display running off of my laptop using my sign control program. This setup right now is kind of a free commercial for Sims Metal Management, who's a company that's scrapping the R46 cars. It's basically telling us the time of day in several different formats. This is 12-hour dicey time. So a real dice can show you 1 through 6. Electronic dice can show you 0 through 9. So it's almost 250. So we'll actually see a 0 on here. But this is just showing it like you can in real time update the sign. That's the military time 1449. Tells you the day, which is important after you retire, and the date, which is useful sometimes for writing checks if anybody ever does that anymore. And this is the free advertisement section with the real time. The sign is running off a 36 volt 4 amp adapter. This adapter actually gets warm. There's two like 38 watt fluorescent tubes in this sign, and it's actually using less power than it says it should. The ballast says 2.5 amps, but it's actually using a little under 2 amps. The LCD part of the circuit uses a half a watt or a fraction of a watt, so all of the power basically is being used by the fluorescent backlights. Up at the top here, you can see the 3 connections on the R46 sign. Let me go back to auto exposure here. The black and red, that's the power wire going to the power adapter. The center one here is the data bus. And this is coming around. It's going through about 8 feet of wire to a USB adapter. This is a 3-wire adapter. It's got an A, B, and a ground connection. The ground connection is important because the laptop is running off that power supply there, and the sign is running off that power supply. So they're able to have a common mode voltage difference between them because their outputs are semi-floating. I mean, they're kind of tied to the polarized plug a little bit, but not really. So anyway, when you use a three terminal USB adapter and tie the grounds together, then you'll have no common mode problem because that gets rid of the common mode voltage. Over here, that last is a terminator resistor. I think it's 110 or 120 ohm resistor. It's arguable whether you need it because the bus is so short, but I had the resistor and I had the connector, so I used it. This sign I found when I first fired it up, it would go 200 to 900 times and then it would lock up, and it would stay locked up until it power cycled it. So I grokked the problem and found out that the original ADC31 chips from Intel had a problem where if you triggered a serial interrupt and a timer interrupt at the same time, the return from interrupts, the first one would work and the second one would pull the wrong return address off the stack. And so I said, wow, maybe I need to change the microcontroller chip. So opened it up and took the microcontroller chip out, and it turns out it's a Philips ADC31, which is not reported to have that problem. So I changed it out anyway, and like after changing it out, it runs forever. So it never locks up anymore. Another thing I did is I have a second LCD Max sign up here, and it turns out it has a different software version. And that version has one extra logic check where it checks to see if it's already got a config file, and if it does, you don't have to send it again. So in the original firmware, you have to send it a config file every update, which basically adds one more data message to the 7 that it does to do each update. So not sending it every time was good. So I upgraded the firmware too. Changed the EEPROM to use the firmware from this other LCD Max sign that has 5 additional bytes of data. Only about half of the firmware is used, so most of it's like half empty. So that's it. This just show you the R46 signs. Like you can send anything to them. They're pretty cool signs. There's a 2-sided sign, so that's actually one of the features of version 392, and subsequent on my sign control program actually sends the sign two messages each time it updates. So the first message goes to this black side. And electrically inside the sign, the two LCD displays are in series on a serial bus. So each time this black side is updated, the data that was in it and was shown gets transferred over to this tan side. So the sign control program sends it a message with a 1/10 second persistent. So it sends a message to the black side, then 1/10 of a second later, it sends a second repeat message with a persistence of what you want it to be, minus 1/10 of a second. And that causes the first message to show up on the tan side, and the second message just stays on the black side because it's the same message. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. You basically have to send it 2 messages. For if you're doing something fast, you can disable that. And then if you're doing fast updates, this second side updates fast, just as a result of how fast you're updating it. Well, thanks for watching. That's a story of my R46 sign.